Hey guys, just finished a new episode with Aakarsh where he talks about his journey from being a geophysicist to an entrepreneur. It's a fun episode. I think you'll like it. Um, we're Hushl. We're a creator economy platform for young professionals to create content for Gen Z. Check us out at www.hushl.in.
I think.
Third clank, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to like.
So you are gonna
I
study
intend. I
geophysics?
intended to go for this for 10 times. Yeah, to tell you gave us an interesting fact, but good job.
Yeah.
All three were very good.
We plan to study geophysics.
No, the third point has given it away. I don't do anything hard. But before I do that, since we have a podcast now, can I do my RJ welcome if that's okay with you?
Do it.
Hi, hello, welcome, Sasriya Kal.
What's up?
Well, good to finally be back.
Yeah.
And we have an exciting guest with us today,
I
Aakarsh.
know.
But before I do that, since we have a podcast now, can I do my RJ welcome if that's okay with you?
Do it.
Hi, hello, welcome, Sasriya Kal. Namaskar to our second episode of, what's the name of our podcast?
Switch.
And what is our tagline?
Crazy career moves.
One of the things that we've done over the last 10 years is try to understand what motivates people to do what they do.
Yeah.
And how did they reach where they reached and all the crazy journeys that they took in the sort of that process.
Yeah.
And today we have with us Aakarsh. Do you want to introduce Aakarsh or we do just grill him right away?
Yeah, we can grill him. Why don't we grill? Okay. Aakarsh,
I was about to say thanks for having me here, but you guys are gonna grill me. So,
yeah, maybe a quick intro to Aakarsh. Aakarsh, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us the career journey in about a minute. Just give us a summary of everything you've done.
yeah, so basically I graduated from IIT Kharagpur last year only, that is 2021. After that I worked for some time at Rakuten Mobile, which is a telecommunications company. It's a Japanese company, and I worked there for 6 months, software engineer. The coding part excites me, but the working didn't really quite. I mean, it wasn't exciting, especially working from home. And I was supposed to join the company in Tokyo, but then this opportunity came at Entrepreneur First, and I pursued entrepreneurship. And currently, I'm working in building Hushl with Adithya. So yeah.
Yeah. We got to grill him about the double masters in Geophysics
I
and-
specifically avoided that because
Yeah, he didn't talk about what he did as masters.
Yeah. So,
So I basically graduated as double major in geophysics, exploration geophysics, and petroleum engineering.
Wow.
So it was a 6-year course, MSc in geophysics and MTech in petroleum engineering. Ultimately, I ended up doing software engineering, so getting a job as a software engineer. So yeah.
Do you actually know the difference between geophysics, geology, and geography?
no, but I can take a stab at it.
Okay.
Geography is what you learn in
Okay,
school.
Aakarsh, you tell us whether Aakarsh, tell us whether we're right.
Okay, the hint is geo has to do something with the earth.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we got
we know
that.
like that.
Yeah,
like it's
come
the
on.
other part of it that we have like no idea
Yeah,
about.
Go for it.
So I think I'm probably gonna get this like wrong. I think geophysics has to do with stuff, I think, under the earth largely, and then maybe geology has stuff to do with like topography and everything that's like above the surface of the earth.
Okay.
Geography is just a subject you study in school that has like anything to do with,
Part of social science and
just-
40 marks for
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're pretty much right. I think we had a discussion.
Yeah.
That's what you got it right. But yeah, geophysics is essentially the study beneath the earth, what goes beneath the earth. So the radius is like 6,400 kilometers, and
Is it the stuff like that core, crust, mantle?
yeah, exactly.
All of us have done that in like 10 standard, 11 standard.
So very interesting thing that the inner core, outer core, mantle is just a theory.
Right.
No one knows it because the deepest humans have gone inside. It's like 20 kilometers. That's
Right.
it. After that, there's nothing so hard that can drill inside the earth. So it's pretty much the same. Like the human beings don't know much about themselves as much as they know about the other things.
Wow.
And I think that holds true for Earth as well. So we know like what exists outside the solar system and the galaxies and everything, but we don't know like what's 20 kilometers beneath the Earth. So yeah, okay, I went some spiritual and philosophical there, but yeah, that is geophysics. Geology is everything that has to do with the rocks on the surface. So once the magma is like outside the Earth, everything over the Earth is like geology domain. And geography is just like the study of like it also includes political science, like how the countries are divided and all, apart from the physical like topography and topology and all that stuff.
So just to clarify, you studied geophysics
Geophysics
for 5 years.
Yeah. The
For
exact
6?
Yeah.
For 5 years, and then you did petrochemical.
One
6
year.
years.
Yeah.
Okay, wow.
So yeah.
Actually, tell me 3 interesting things about
Geophysics.
geophysics. And you know what? Wait, I don't want to spill the coffee. If it's interesting, I'll tap the mug.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. First, so your study of earthquakes is totally related to geophysics, that is seismology, and seismology is it's a subject under geophysics, so you can predict the earthquakes or the tsunamis and all that stuff
By studying geophysics. Yeah, should I
Yeah,
tap?
you got a clank. Yeah, that's
Okay.
interesting. Okay.
That was interesting.
Yeah.
Number 2.
Also, geophysics gives you petroleum. Without geophysics, you won't have petroleum essentially. I mean, of course, you can go to Saudi Arabia and you can just, you're going with your camel and everything and see a pool of oil, and that's fine. But if you got to dig inside deep waters, you need to have some knowledge of geophysics.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Okay.
right now we have petrol at 100 rupees. Probably then it would have been.
Yeah,
200
given
or
the
300.
significance of petrol, I think I'm gonna.
Clank.
Okay.
And then final one.
And the final one is, it's a tough subject.
Why is it tough? Tell us like one thing that's like super tough about it.
So geophysics is like, you have this physics, of course, the physics has been attached to it. So it is theoretical physics essentially. And on top of it, there's like complex mathematics, like calculus level 2 or something like that. And then you are applying this entire mathematics and everything, not to a small product or something. This is like entire Earth, and it's massive. And to apply mathematics and physics there, it's like everything in geophysics is a theory. Nothing has been proven. It's just theoretical physics overall. So it is hard. It is tough. And it is a very new subject. I mean, geophysics has evolved in the 20th century itself. So no one really studied geophysics before, in like 19th century, 18th century, no one.
Right. Okay. I think.
Third clank, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to like.
So you are gonna
I
study geophysics?
intended to go for this for 10 times, yeah, to tell you gave us an interesting fact, but good job.
Yeah.
All 3 were very good.
We plan to study geophysics.
No, the third point has given it away. I don't do anything hard.
Yeah. Yeah, what else do we want to ask Aakarsh, man? Like, it's quite... I think, Aakarsh, you also have this, and I say this because I know you,
Yep.
which is that you also went to VIT for a while
Yeah.
and then dropped a year and then prepared for IIT. Like, how stressful was that? And when you look back at it, like, tell us more about just that journey of like going to VIT, thinking through things, and then sort of taking a drop year and then going to like IIT JEE.
Yeah.
Like, what was that like?
So let me go like a step back from VIT. So back in 12th, I actually I never wanted to pursue engineering. So in 12th, I gave this. So I come from an army background. So my dad was in army, and I've shifted like 10 schools, living in like various cities across North India mostly. Jammu, Shimla, Chandigarh, and all these places. Made bunch of friends everywhere. So yeah, I was always like into this that I want to go to army, because when you're growing up in army cantonments and growing around soldiers and everything, that sort of rubs onto you. And yeah, so in 12th I gave this exam for NDA, but without preparation. So now the competition is really tough there as well. There are like 2 lakh students basically giving that exam, and 20-30,000 people come for those SSB interviews, Service Selection Board, and only 300 get selected. So it's a much tougher competition than
Wow,
IIT.
that's crazy, man. I didn't. Did you know that? Did you know those were the numbers?
Yeah.
So I gave, I went to SSB Allahabad. I gave the interview, but I wasn't really prepared and vetted enough. So eventually I didn't get selected. Post that, again I took that engineering route because I was studying non-med and I was like fairly good in studies. So
Yeah. I mean, of course, you cracked VIT and IIT. We figured that part out.
yeah, I got into VIT. 3 months into the college, I realized that maybe like I could have scored, like I just needed to score like 5 marks more to get into an IIT. That's how close I was during my first attempt. And 5 marks means just answering 2 more questions right out of those 120 questions. So I realized that perhaps I should drop out of VIT and try again. I tried again, got cleared my JEE advanced, got into IIT Kharagpur with Geophysics, and yeah, so it was a 5-year course initially. At the end of the first year, we were given this option of converting into a 6-year one by adding an additional MTech in petroleum engineering. And this was 2015 when the oil prices were really high, like
$120, $130.
$120, $130 a barrel, and this petroleum industry was booming. So I was like, dude, if you are studying geophysics, it only makes sense, to get a master's in petroleum engineering and get a good job.
Like in Schlumberger or something.
Schlumberger and
Shell.
and all these British Petroleum. And so yeah, so I took the leap, converted my course into a 6-year one, and come 2017, the oil prices came crashing down and the market sentiment was really sad. Yeah, so then I decided, okay, so I was also good in coding all the while. I had started coding in 11th class, and I had also worked on a bunch of self projects in C++ and all these languages. So in 2017-18, I realized, maybe I should go back to coding, pursue what I really liked and everything. And yeah, that's when I picked up coding, and bye petroleum and everything. Just had to pass my subjects and all. But I didn't just pass. I actually was department rank 2 in my college out of 30 people in my batch. So yeah, that was it. I actually like this subject,
Right.
geophysics.
Right.
But
So when you say coding, I think a lot of people, essentially, especially for generalists like us, they've talked about coding being the one skill that can really it's important for everybody to have. It's almost a 21st century skill now. Some people have actually learned it and really put in the work. How easy or how difficult was it for you to pick it up and to actually reach a level of expertise that at the end of your this double masters, a hardcore sort of software services company like Rakuten could potentially come and pick you up for a job. So how do you get to that level without really any formal training of any kind?
I think the first barrier to learning coding is the introduction part. When you sort of get introduced to coding, it seems very complex because there are these numbers and words that you haven't seen before, and you are using them in a weird fashion, like why this bracket, why this, that, why this semicolon and everything. Luckily, I got introduced to it while I was in school, and I had a really brilliant teacher like Dilip Chanani. So I was studying in Ahmedabad back then, and he was like a really amazing teacher. The way he guided us and he took us like step by step and everything. And because it's in school, you got to study it because you won't. Yeah, like you have to score well in that.
What was good about him? Like, tell us why he was a great teacher. Was it subject matter expertise? Was he just a nice
Because
guy?
I actually also studied computer science in my 11th standard, and in 6 months I gave up
Yeah.
and went to biology. So I'm extra curious actually.
Yeah. So like basically he was very what do I say? He was there was this thing that I liked about his personality, that you go up to him and if you're not getting something. So one thing that while the teacher is teaching, like everyone has doubts, right? But few people ask. Uh, Other people don't ask because the teacher might get irritated, and they do get irritated. But this particular person, like no matter how many times you go to him, his voice would always be so sweet, and like his personality, his demeanor was that. He was like, okay, I will explain you again, and he said slowly, like he also said very slowly, like in this space only. So basically, the compiler compiles the code in this fashion, and like when he's speaking so slowly, it's actually registering in your head and everything. And he also had a very this kind of approach. So most of the computer teachers, what they used to do is like, it's a theory period. You just sit down in the class and I'll just write on the board or stuff. He used to take us to lab whenever possible. So because he knew this is a practical subject and you need to have this practical sort of approach to it. So even when we study physics or chemistry, we just have this physics lab, chemistry lab once in a week for 1 hour. But if you have sort of this practical approach to this subject, even physics and chemistry, I think people would register way more than what they register while sitting in class. So yeah, that was the approach that he took. Anyway, so 2018, I had this internship got this internship offer at Sydney, which has an interesting story to it. We can talk about it later.
Yeah.
So yeah, here I met amazing people. So I was my project was on machine learning.
Okay.
And
who was it with? Tell us more about the internship.
Yeah, so it was with a professor who was working on a software called G plates. It's basically to imagine. So Earth is divided into these tectonic plates.
Yeah.
And to imagine this, like to actually stimulate these movement of these tectonic plates over millions of years, there's this software called G plates, and people can then predict occurrence of various minerals or petroleum or even earthquakes. So that was the software he was working on, and basically I had a project related to that software. So there I met again like amazing people who were working on like these web apps, creating like these interactive web apps, what we call 2.5 Web 2.5. And there I realized that there's a huge market opportunity here. And I was also studying these subjects related to entrepreneurship back in college as in my electives. And that's when I realized maybe this, like I'm good in coding, maybe I should deviate my energy from machine learning to, maybe creating something more tangible, virtually more tangible. And that's when I picked up web development as a full-time, ambition.
How did you study web development? Because you're doing geophysics. Did you learn like on Coursera, Udemy?
Yeah.
What was it like?
So, COVID has been a boon for me. Shouldn't say it like that, but
You got the time to.
Yeah, I got the time. I got the time to because there were no classes. Even the virtual classes were like just open Zoom, just join the class and just sit there, and meanwhile you can do your own stuff. So that was the time when I enrolled in a bunch of these code along courses and everything on Coursera and Udemy. And I just, there's this, so have you read the book Ikigai? So Ikigai speaks about this flow state.
Yeah.
So when you're drawing or when you're creating, musicians get this a lot.
When you get into the zone.
When you're just in this zone and everything is just blurred. So with coding, that sort of thing started to happen with me. Like when I was coding and creating something and designing something, I was just in the zone. I'm starting at like 11 p.m. at night and I'm ending at like 5 a.m., 6 a.m. in the morning, going to the closest sutta shop and ending my night. But yeah, that was it. Like getting into the zone. And if you figure out it quickly, like what gets you in the zone, just stick to it. Just stick to it.
Huh. That's pretty good. What gets you in the zone? Do you have something that gets you in the zone?
Maybe writing sometimes.
Yeah?
Sometimes.
Like non-fiction or fiction?
Non-fiction.
Because you've done a little bit of fiction writing as well.
Yeah. But I think sometimes writing would be one of those things for me. When you really feel like you're actually making a compelling argument.
Yeah.
I think it's the same as coding, right? There's always a logical flow that needs to keep going, and you need to keep ensuring that all the steps are being followed in the right way. What about you?
What gets me in the flow? I'd probably pick writing as well. Like I've quite enjoyed writing. More on sort of, I think, the fiction side. Like that zone was just something. And I did this for a few years.
I've seen it. Yeah.
Which was great. And I think we've both done something in... and it's amazing how much we've deviated. It's interesting, right? Like we talk about like writing getting us in the flow. And Aakarsh is like, when you find your flow, like don't give it up.
Yeah.
The both of us have clearly sort of given it up and like done other things. So maybe that's something to think about.
We'll find a flow in the podcast business, don't worry.
Yeah.
But
Maybe you're facing that writer's block.
No, I think one question I definitely want to ask Aakarsh is, you went to Russia, man. Did you know you went to Russia? Like you went to Russia in the middle of like...
What happens in Russia stays in Russia.
Yeah.
So I was...
was this a petroleum sort of project?
No. So this happened first year. There's an organization called ISEC. It's a global
Right.
organization.
The internship.
Yeah, they basically provide for these
Volunteering
and all opportunities. So I got this volunteering opportunity in my first year, basically to go to Russia. Again, you had to pay some amount and everything to like stay there and everything. But the meals were free and sort of at some places the accommodations were free. So it was not like as pricey as one would expect it to be.
Did you have to convince your parents?
Yeah, so this thing happened when I was in my gap year. So my parents, my sister, they went to China for a family trip. So it was like sponsored by my dad's office and everything. And they asked me like, you could also come along. I was like, no, like, I have to clear
The JEE.
Like,
So
I've taken the drop.
he probably used this as leverage. Is that
Yes.
when you went to China?
Yes.
Is that where the story is going?
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. So I just said that, you guys went to China, that I should also go to a communist country.
Oh, okay. I didn't connect that. Okay.
So yeah, basically that's when I went to Russia, and I stayed in St. Petersburg like for 2 months. And St. Petersburg is this amazing place, like the sun never really sets there. Like it's 11 p.m.
It
the
would
sun
still be.
sets there, and it's 2 a.m. now, and the sun just like rotates like and comes up from here. So it's probably has to do
insane,
something with the
man.
latitude and everything. But yeah, that was a great experience. Like amazing people, and Russians are like.
Is that geophysics or geology? How the sun sets. But anyway, sorry, continue.
Yeah, it is astronomy.
Okay, I guess I'm very far away. There's a lot for me to learn.
You gotta go back to writing. Go on.
Yeah. So again, so my work, like I was volunteering in a summer camp. So basically, this summer camp had these kids between the ages of 14 to 18, and they have this concept of in these summer camps they live like they have this Spartan life. They are living in these tents, and they are going in this common washroom which is sort of dug every day, and the fresh sort of commode sort of things made, and all these kids are having water from a stream, and very very raw experiences. Like these kids, the way we look at the Indian kids are sort of living in this luxurious sort of tropical country where the food is available in plenty. But for Russians, it has always been hard. and it has trickled down to their culture. Like, even parents feel that they need to teach their kids the hardships.
Right.
And these summer camps are sort of a way to
It's learning experience, learning by
experience for them,
doing.
yeah. And yeah, I mean, it was really fun. I got to learn a lot from that country, and the culture we perceive, the way people usually perceive that Russians are very cold and they are emotionless. I mean, it's not true. They have a very rich culture and really amazing and helpful people.
What a time to plug for Russians in May 2022. It's quite timely. Or not. Yeah, cool. What questions do you have?
We should go to
for
a rapid
Aakarsh?
fire.
Should we go to our rapid fire? Maybe one question before the rapid fire, which is you've done like a bunch of different things, right? Like you've spoken about coding. I know you moved away from geophysics, but clearly you speak about it like very passionately.
Yeah.
I think when I work with you, so I know that like you love entrepreneurship, not just the idea of entrepreneurship, but like everything that sort of comes with it. What does the future look like? What do you think when you think of the next 10 years?
I think that 10 years for me, probably I would be working, like continue working on the venture I'm currently working at, like Hushl.
That's the right answer, yeah.
Yeah. And if things don't work out, probably I will work on a different idea, but I'll probably go back to the software engineering, as software engineer, and yeah, again, like work until the next big idea strikes or the next big opportunity comes my way. I also think sometimes that maybe I should go for a PhD because,
Yeah.
but going back to that theoretical subject is really hard now.
Yeah.
But the life sort of appeals to me, life of a researcher. Like it's very, I mean,
Focused.
it's focused and slow in a good sense. Like, you have time for yourself, you have time for big
Really
thoughts and-
deep dive into your
Yep.
subjects.
So I also I romanticize that life, but I sort of love this fast-paced and creating something, always in the creating or build mode. This sort of life appeals to me more now.
And that's interesting because you've considered the PhD for a while.
Yeah.
You've also considered entrepreneurship for a while.
Yeah.
Where's your head at, man?
No, I think both of them are very challenging, and both of them require a lot of commitment and a lot of clarity more than anything else. I might have put the PhD dreams to bed at some point. But that was less to do with research and more to do with just being in front of a classroom and being in an academic environment. But entrepreneurship, yes, definitely at some point. And well, best of luck with Hushl, and I hope you are able to make a lot more out of it in the next sort of 10 to 15 years.
Yeah, cool. Should we do the rapid fire?
Yeah.
Yep.
So this is a fun question, okay? If you had 10 million, or if I had to give you 10 million, and we actually took away your IIT tag and all the geophysics and geoengineering and geography, everything really, would you do it?
Is it 10 million?
10 million USD, 10 million USD, 10 million USD.
When I was 17 or 18.
Yes. Actually, no, now.
We'll give it to you now.
We'll give it to you now,
But we take
we'll
away
take
your
away your
IIT
degree.
tag.
That's an interesting one. Like, if I secure funding with my tag, then I would probably want to have my tag. But
You got to answer now. As of right now,
Yeah,
you
he's
get
complicating
10 million in hard cash, but we take away all
I'll
of...
keep the tag.
You'll keep the IIT tag.
Yeah.
And why is that?
I mean, I shouldn't be doing away with my alma mater just because of some amount.
Right.
So
That could also be, I mean, isn't Sundar Pichai from IIT Kharagpur too? So he can probably make it in like 6
That's
months.
true. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Your question next.
Mine is, you're either the founder of an exciting startup where you get to code, and but your product isn't like it hasn't found product market fit yet, and you're like struggling, you don't know where your customers are, whether they like it or not. Or you're the founder of a truly boring business. Your customers love you, but the business is super boring and you don't get to code. You have to like, there's some tech and there's a lot of other things that you have to do. Which one would you pick? But you found product market fit, like your customers love it.
Yeah, if my customers love it, if customers are happy, I would try to make that business interesting. So currently it's boring, but probably, yeah, I will go with the boring one.
And why?
I think there are always ways to make a business more interesting, and I think I will work my way around that.
Okay.
And I don't want to code my entire life, although it gets me into the flow and everything, but I mean, I got to get like above it, right?
Yeah.
A cricketer can't always be a cricketer, like he would also retire someday.
Yeah, but you can actually, if you like coding that much, like code your entire life, right? I mean, I would imagine that a Kohli or a Tendulkar would play if they're
Probably I would want to have like
more diverse. Like you want to have
diverse,
more, a more holistic.
Yeah. So probably like, yeah, I love coding, but I would want to manage a company or like get into other roles as well.
Right. Okay, so segue to the next question. If you could pick any job, any sector, and any geography, right? Any job, any sector, any industry, any geography, to commit the next 10 years of your life, what would you do and why?
Bartender at Hawaii.
Bartender at
Hawaii.
At Hawaii.
Wow.
Or like something like that, some Caribbean island or something.
Okay.
And why?
Why?
I just want to chill.
Okay.
Like,
great, man.
That's a good answer, yeah.
And probably sit down with my laptop there and code something for the bar.
That explains the boring part where he wants to like,
Make something interesting.
yeah, yours.
What advice would you give 20-year-old Aakarsh?
Well, the thing I have struggled with the most is like not believing in my own timeline. Like, I always used to look at others, like because I had taken a drop, I had a 6-year course. So most of my friends had graduated back in 2018, and while it was for me, it was like 2021, like very recent. So I used to think this way, like everyone is going ahead, and I'm sort of like I
Left
have
behind.
left behind. I don't have to work hard, very hard to get where they are and everything. Now I look back and I think all of that was stupid, and I shouldn't have really fallen for that thing where I questioned myself, became like really underconfident and everything. It's more about believing your own timeline, your own pace, and you would do good.
Right.
You don't really have to give in to that competitive zone.
And we see this pressure, right? Like of all the kinds of people who reach out to us, I think while you obviously give them the advice, I think I think it's important for everybody to actually end the conversation by saying, hey, we are all on our own journey. Don't really take what one person has done or what the other person has done and put unnecessary pressure. And the truth is they will still do it.
Yeah.
But I think it's important for people as you grow older to keep acknowledging that whenever someone reaches out to you. But good, yeah, that you've reached it pretty. I mean, you've realized this fairly early, so that's great. Thank you, Aakarsh. It's been great having you, and excited to see all the good things that you will do. Maybe we could plug what's the work that you're going to do. But if you could, in 2 sentences, tell me why you think Hushl is the next big idea.
Well, no other platform anywhere in the world focuses on like helping the kids, explore, engage, and experiment with with a huge amount of options and career options, and figure out what's best for them. And that's what we are doing at Hushl, helping students make better career decisions. Not students, but young adults in general, as well as even the older folks who want to maybe switch to something else, like they're bored of their current job and want to do something exciting. They can also come on the platform and explore, engage, and like experiment with different professionals.
Okay. Explore, engage, and experiment. I think that seems to be the
Yep.
3 key words. Thank you, Aakarsh. Thank you, Adithya. And
Ciao.
See you
See you soon.
tomorrow at office.
Yeah, that's true.